Idaho for this month's or this quarter's edition of the market update. What's going on in Boise, Idaho? Glad to have you. My name is Brian Hymas, born and raised here in Boise Valley, an appraiser for a couple years. Been doing real estate for the last 6 or 7 years. Have the YouTube channel Boise Real Estate, and love all things Boise, love all things real estate. And it really is a privilege to be able to make content around my city that I love and help you guys out who are conservative, who want like values, who are coming to the valley anyways, and help you guys know where to move to, what the markets are like, when to buy, all that stuff. You'll see my number flash across the screen many times through this whole live, and this live is going to be primarily ran from you. I've got stats we can go over and things like that, but I really want to know what are your questions that you guys have, whether you're a first-time home buyer and you're local, first-time home buyer and you're not local. Let's say it's you have questions about the transition. How's it going to work when you have to sell your home? You have to buy one here. What kind of time frames are we working with? Are we taking contingent offers these days? All those things are going to be good questions for us to dive into. So we'll talk about that, and anything else you guys have questions about, we will dive into all of that. All right. Some interesting, intriguing things have happened in the market in the last little bit. June holding off on hikes. The Fed held off on hikes in June, which was very interesting. They say a couple more are coming. We have cities shrinking. We have cities growing. And if I told you there was a city in the Treasure Valley that shrank from 2021 to 2022, do you know who it would be? It would be Boise. If that doesn't come as a surprise to you, that would make two of us. Because if there's going to be a shrink in any city, it's probably going to be the one where people are not really moving to. Right? When people move to Boise, they're not really moving to Boise. Hardly. I actually just closed a home in Boise, funny enough. It's Meridian Schools in Boise, so they'll still vote for Boise mayors and things, but it's Meridian Schools, how the boundaries work out. I guess West Ada School District now. And so there are people still moving to Boise, but really what's important to people who I work with, and probably people like you, is they're looking for the conservative values. In fact, that lady that bought that home, she did write off Boise. The second day she got in my car, she said, you know what, I've just decided we're not moving to Boise. However, her situation is what was available for her was in Boise. So guys, if you are joining me, I would love to hear where you're joining me from. We have, if it's first time you've been on here, if it's your long time, whatever it might be, would love to hear where you're coming from. So just type in your city and state. And then if you guys have any questions, anything that would spice up the conversation, let's do it. This live is meant to be fun, interactive, as fun as talking nerdy stats can be. I've got plenty of stories that I can go over, but and different things that have happened since we've talked last, because it's been a couple months since we've done a live. I see Sergey is from Las Vegas. Congratulations on your Vegas Knights 9-3 whomping on Game 5. I think Game 5 or 6. My aunt and uncle are here from Las Vegas right now. They're up here escaping the heat. Well. Anyone else? Let's hear where you're coming from as well. And Sergey and others. Is it Sergey? I'm gonna guess it's like Sergey. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat and we will get through those. So Boise declined in population in the last little bit. Star and Caldwell and Nampa are the fastest growing cities in Idaho from 2021 to 2022. I heard a stat that Post Falls up north is actually growing as well. Compare our two weathers and cell phone reception from place to place, and it's not really hard to pick the best place on earth, right? That's why we're gathered here. It's for the best place on earth. Star, Nampa, and Caldwell were a 13% increase from 21 to 22. 13%. That 13% in 1 year. 1 year. That is absolutely crazy. It is no wonder when you drive places, there's construction in what seems like no matter what route you take, you're going to hit it once that day. That is absolutely bonkers. Absolute bonkers. 13% in 1 year. Sergey, I want to get an HVAC license in Idaho. Well, do we have work for you? just got in what situation there's contractors. Boy, not knowing every industry in and out. I mean, the city that it's growing, right? Real estate and the conservative movement is actually fueling this economy. This is a great question because I get this question a lot. What's the industry like for teachers? What's the industry like for contractors? What's Jeff? Thanks for joining us again. What's the industry like for X, Y, or Z? Quite frankly, because of supply and demand of economics of people moving here, there's a demand on this place. People bringing new jobs, people bringing new companies, people moving here from Portland starting a plumbing business, or from California starting an HVAC business, or whatever it might be. Those move-ins, we have demand for more people because the dentist has got to he'll have more teeth to work on. The HVAC will have more heaters and air conditioning units to work on. And so, I mean, you could, Sergey, this is a great, I mean, this is such a great, I could talk about this for probably a lot of time. One of the best things you can do for yourself is market yourself, right? In any industry. I don't care if it's look at a real estate agent. The average agent does 6 deals a year. There's not room for more agents when it's all said and done. There's not. However, I became an agent, and depending, and 6 is the active number. When you take all the people who work part-time and only do 0 deals per every 2 years, it's like the average is like 1.5 or something. So 1.5 to 6 deals a year is the average. There's not exactly a demand for more realtors, but if you can market yourself, Sergey, or in market with new technology, pay-per-click, organic advertising, or just getting in with the realtors, or whatever it might be, if you can market yourself and you can get a list of customers to work with, you can make it anywhere, anytime, any industry. I am very, very confident in that. Marketing is, I'm half real estate agent, half marketer. I mean, Tuesday is my film day. I filmed this morning and I'm on this live at night, constantly drumming up, conversations, topics. Just, Jeff, Sergey, you guys have gotten on. You guys are potentially moving here, right? In an industry for me that is crowded, oversaturated. And you really have to try to stand out somehow, one way or another. So that's a long answer. Thanks for giving me my soapbox to be able to talk about that. But that's my answer for, is there a need for those type of contractors here in the Valley? Jeff, want to settle in Meridian. Jeff, have you been up here? I probably asked this question before. Have you been up to Meridian yet? Boise area, CUNA, Star, Nampa, Caldwell, Middleton, Eagle, Star. I'd love to know that, Jeff. Sergey, let's show your question here. How hard is it to find a reliable contractor for an HVAC, residential or subcontractor for development? How hard is it to find a reliable one? I've heard that our contractors are more reliable than out of state. So I haven't really known people in Idaho and Boise area who just quit halfway through a job or get paid and leave. I'm sure there are bad rotten apples in any industry, but I hear it's pretty much a norm in other states. That is not the norm here. You would be competing with hopefully good contractors here who are doing their job and being honest in their work. That's who we're attracting. It's the anti-wokes that are moving here. It's people who, capitalism runs wild here. It's fantastic. Yes, there is a greed to socialism, capitalism. But the selfishness of capitalism is what ultimately lets people's self-interest. I mean, in order for me to make the most money, I have to learn how to serve others and provide the most value. So if you can do that, Sergey, you will find success. Jeff, you have been up here. Good, cool beans. If you are coming up again, Jeff, let's get in contact. Send me an email or whatever else, or just tell me here when you're coming up next, and would love to help. It's crazy how and this will transition nicely into the next topic that we'll look at some nerdy numbers. It's crazy how the calendar ebbs and flows. I had a closing in March, and I had, to give you a rough idea, I do 20 to 30 deals a year. So a lot compared to the 6 average, yes, a little compared to the 200 listings that some of those powerhousers do, right, a year. But I could get on a spiel right now of telling you why I think what I do is the best. They could probably tell you why they do it is the best. But my point is, Anyway, I lost my thought. Now I got the thing in my eye. Oh yeah, is it ebbs and flows, and so I had one close in March, and I put something in contract under March, and then I didn't have anything close in all of April, and I had in all of April I had skunked in April for the first time in 27 months, and the market was slow, and then I had a couple close in May. I had a couple close in May. Oh, Shar is here. Thanks, Shar. Those of you who see Stargazer, Shar. Shar and we actually talked the other day on the phone. The ebbs and flows, and May was a month where, for me, my personal business went to 2. Sorry, April was my personal business where I had 0. Let's look at just Gene. If you can bring up the graph of Ada County, I think this is really interesting. What happened from May to June? Just look at the pending sales. You can load that if you don't mind, Gene. Just putting all the numbers up there. Yeah. It's crazy what happened in the month of June, month of May. May increased a little bit, and then June. I kid you not, I've put 3 or 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 or 4 contracts under 3 or 4 under contract. People have been waiting for a while. Debbie and Rick sometimes get on here. Debbie and Rick got under contract. They've been search for like a year. I also had Justin and Morgan. They actually were new. They were like new clients in May, and then by June we were already under contract. And basically what I'm saying is I'm validating my own personal experiences with what the numbers are showing. We had almost triple of the pendings. I mean, that's essentially, that's how many contracts are accepted, right? I think it's something like 98% of all contracts go make it to the finish line. And so we're talking a lot. The number of sold is 712 to 711. So that's going to be very, very different come July, right? Because the pendings close usually 2 to 6 weeks later, usually 4 weeks later. So that's a lagging number. Active listings, we had more active listings, so we increased in the active listings by 170, but the pendings increased by 400. Supply and demand, right? Supply and demand. That's the only thing that drives the cost is supply and demand. Interest rates and things only try to influence it, but it's supply and demand, which is why Boise makes a great safe bet for what you're doing with your real estate. Not guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed, but that's to give you an idea. You can look at those prices there. Those are up. Thanks for putting these up for a long time, Gene. These are cool to look at. Lowest sold price, highest sold price. I mean, when all is said and done, 3.7 1 month and 4.4 1 month. For the amount of luxury homes that sell, 4.475 is a huge home for Boise. The highest sell ever in the whole MLS here is 6.5. There's a couple on sale right now on the market for more than that. One of my good friends has a $10 million listing. And that one, plug a luxury real estate. There's some cool luxury real estate opportunities out there. Any questions, guys, as we move in? We're going to move to Eagle, but any questions, keep them coming. If you're new joining it, we got a few new that are on. Tell us where you're from. Love to hear that. Jeff is from Chino. Sergey is from Vegas. Star is from Lancaster, Apple Valley, somewhere up there, right? She'll tell me. This is a cool thing. This is something that I get. It talks about, because Idaho is a non-disclosure state, which is a positive for you. When you buy a home in Idaho, you don't have to tell the government how much you bought it for. So this data that we have is list price, and list price, homes sell for, like, if you take the grand mass numbers and average them all out, it's pretty close to list price. It's not as much. It's like 98 or 99%. So when we have median list price, 675 in Ada County, the median price at 577. These are cool graphs to look at, just so we can. I mean, you can take how many price decreases there were. 40% of all of them. That's a down 10% from like 8 months ago, 6 months ago. Median days on market 35. I don't love median days on market for a reason I'll share maybe another day. 21% of homes relisted. That's interesting, because 21% plus 39. It's probably not a straight 60%. It's probably like more like a 50. You can manipulate data by relisting your listings. Median rent, we're not going to pay attention to that. If you can go to the graph on the next one for Ada County, Gene, this is a cool one. So this is cool because pre-COVID, we were looking at in Ada County somewhere around that 425 mark, and 425 gets you a whale of a home. I mean, just a real winner. Obviously, things have changed. If you go back last year, I wish I could. I got to sneeze. I'm gonna mute myself. Um, if we could go, there is not a percentage of cash purchases. I happen to know it's about 30%. Star, she asked this real quick. She said, is there a graph showing percent of cash purchases? I'm told that it's 30%. And that aligns up with about what my buyers are, local or non-local, 30%. Everyone thinks that all these out-of-state locals are coming up with the cap. It's everybody. You don't need to blame it on just the Californians. Take last year where that diamond is about July. That's 12 months ago. And that is right when we started to see these declines. We saw the increase of prices, but then what we saw was homes that were sitting. And so these this prices had to come down. In fact, that's about 700. Yeah, I had a listing that went up the wrong weekend. I literally missed it by a week. And that went from 775 and ended up closing like 650. At the end, the buyers needed to move on, and sellers needed to move on, and they were just willing to take anything. Cool. And then I love below, you'll see how it kind of segments everything out. If you're still the lowest quarter percentile, 25 percentile of square footage and pricing and everything else, your days on market's way lower, way lower. So best month to buy. Oh man, good question. January is not bad, but January brings out buyers after Christmas time. You'd be surprised. January is actually not the best time, I'd say, overall. Great question. If I had to pick one, the problem is if you say that the 1 month historically, what's the best month to buy? Taking out COVID, if I had to choose when it would probably be beginning of December. No, the market's pretty dead. Like if you're going to take a cruise and detach from the world as a real estate agent, you'd probably be looking at the beginning of December to do it because it's less activity. Remember, supply and demand. There's less buyers, but what you want as a buyer is less competition. You want to be able to walk through the house, make sound decisions, and you want to be able to not feel rushed. So if I were to say when that best time is, it's then. If you're feeling competitive and juicy, you want to get that springtime. When the grass gets green, that's when people start coming out. Open houses start filling up. Showings start filling up. But you also have more competition. Another month that's kind of cool is August. It kind of dies in August because that demand for school, moms already want to have their kids in their schools. Good questions. Thank you. Let us go to Eagles boring. I say boring without the lines, the ones that we make, Gene. Eagles stats. Look at the pendings again, 16 to 62. That's almost a 4x. So last time it was a 3x in all of Ada County, and this is an almost 4x. Don't switch this. Keep it on Eagle, but I'm just going to tell you real quick. That Meridian had basically a 2x. Star was basically the same. Boise had almost a 5x. Holy mackerel. Middleton had not even a 2x. They're Canyon County, however. Canyon Caldwell, almost the same. And Nampa, almost a 2x. So overall, Ada County about a 3x. Eagle coming in strong at a almost a 4x. It would have been 64 would have been a 4x. Numbers of solds, pretty even there. Median days on the market, holy cow, 7. That's incredible. That is incredible. Median sold price, look at that though. It also went down. Very interesting. Be interesting to know all the ins and outs of why this data correlates this way. Let's go to Eagles fun graph. Question for you guys. Any first-time home buyers out there? Just curious. The real-time market data here, the median list price in Eagle is over $1 million. Median price of new listings is 1.1 essentially. Average days on market 90. That's for taking data for quite a bit back. Char, you are a first-time home buyer. I thought you were not a first-time home buyer for some reason when we talked. Because anyway, without getting too much into your story. Price decreased 36%, relisted 12%, so much healthier. Well, not even that much. Yeah, much healthier, because that would be 48 compared to 60. Inventory 177, median rent, you can see that was up. That helps gauge, like, people are trying to cover their costs with their rentals, right? So 348 bucks. All right. Let's move on to the next city. Daughter's first time, more cash. Okay, there you go. Okay, that makes sense. Median list price for Meridian. See, again, we're at that peak there, and then for the last, people ask me, what's the market like? Can you pull that market up again? Yeah, so this right here, Eagle here, we have July 2021. Excuse me. And then we have 12 months ago. Look how flat it's been for the last 12 months. People say, oh, I hear it all the time. People say, oh, I see every home I watch, there's a price decrease on everything. No, it's not a price decrease on everything. What it is you only get notifications on those who price decrease. Those who go pending, those slip away into oblivion, and you don't see those. So, and you can see that this graph is pretty steady. When you look at the numbers on the upper quartile, bottom quartile, and the middle 50%, you're looking at median days on market 42, 45, 31, 49. That's statistically odd that it's not increasing with the more price. And that's when people were saying that the market, actually, the luxury market, or the more luxury homes in Idaho, Boise region, were actually untouched more than the others. So when the government starts printing money, if they ever do that again, who gets rich and who gets poor? The poor get poor and the rich get richer. That's usually what happens, because people who have money know how to leverage money to get more money, and that's all. It's money out there for the taking. And so Eagle is our nicer area. So not saying it has to be that way. Not saying I know everything about economics, but interesting stuff. Guys, a reminder of who I am. Those who are joining me for the first time, my name is Brian Hymas, born and raised in the Boise area. I love all things Boise. I love all things real estate. As a fourth grader, a guy came into my class. My classmate Sarah's dad came into the class. He's actually still an appraiser and a real estate agent to this day. And he started talking about all the appraising he did and all the cool homes he saw. And I was like, oh my goodness, that sounds awesome. I want to be an appraiser. I want to see cool homes every day. I started appraising. That was in 2007. I appraised. And then after I appraised for a little bit, started doing jobs on my own. That was when things crashed a little bit, and appraisals started coming out where they had to have the certified licensee only, not the trainee, which is what I was. And so I had to go find greener pastures. I went to take a sales job, and then the sales job turned into real estate sales, which is what I do now, real estate. And for the last 7 years, I've been doing that. And I've loved it. And wouldn't trade it. I love making content about Boise. It's fun to talk about it. It really comes natural. I mean, just imagine talking about your hometown every day. I mean, you can talk about different pockets. You can talk about different cities. What's also cool is to see the preconceived notions about different cities that change, right? So, Jeff, thanks for the comments. I'll get to them in a second. It's nice to see, like, when Caldwell, what Caldwell used to be, and I actually have an official Caldwell address right now. Because I live in the county. I live two houses away from Middleton, essentially, and Middleton High, and I'm the county. And but Caldwell used to be just not so great, and it's turning, it's revitalizing. It's awesome. Revitalization is something that happens when people buy old homes. Look for revitalization. Homes hit a point about 25 to 40 years after that start. You're going to see a decline. You're going to see people start taking care of those things, and revitalization is what you're looking for. Are we seeing bidding wars on homes? Let's go to that question. So I almost had the person who bought a home that just closed last weekend. I had 2 homes go under contract that day. One was no bidding war, and one was 3 offers were coming. We put ours in first. There's a strategy being first. There's a strategy being last. Some people just be last because they want to wait, and not have their offer used to bid against. We decided to put ours in quick, and they said, hey, we're going to review off. We said, please reply by 12. They said, we're going to review offers like about 4 o'clock that day. And all of a sudden, 11 o'clock, she calls me and she says, "Did you get my text?" Like, no. She's like, "Well, we took yours." So that would have been a bidding war had they, she said, the sellers have said, "You gave them exactly what they want. It's cash. So you're good to go." So we got the house. So there are bidding wars, but they're not the norm. Not the norm at all. Between 600 and 800. In fact, that house was a 595 house, to give you an idea. So 600, 800, you'd have to, if it's the first weekend and it's priced right, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. Homes seem to go penny quickly in their range. Yes, they do, especially when they're priced right. What are you guys feeling out there as buyers? Are you guys feeling that you guys want to hold off? Are you guys feeling that you guys want to see what the rates do? Are you guys thinking you want to strike now? What's the general sentiment from you guys? I mean, you guys are the ones buying. I'm the one advising. So you guys tell me what's coming your way. What do you guys feel? What's your general feel on the market? Let's go, Gene, to the fun graph of Middleton. Let's see, maybe I can pull it up. There it is. The other one with the cool numbers, with the cool graphs. Yeah. Okay. Median list price, 565, essentially 250 a square foot. Median days on market, 93. That includes all the poorly listed ones. Also includes all the ones that went first weekend, right? Median days on market, 56. That's probably more like it. I'm going to guess these stats are pulled with how many days from listing to close, because 56 would be more like 26. 55% are receiving price decreases. 20% are price increases. That's interesting. Only 5% relisted. Interesting. Next slide there. 2250. That's about Meridian's average rent. Really interesting. Okay, these dashed lines is the 7-day average. So you saw some spikes there in the January, February, March, April, May region, and then May hits and it goes back down, and it stays down up, and then it goes up about that March 2023. I love seeing this. If you look back at the last year where that diamond is, we are going to see a decrease overall in Middleton. So Eagle held strong, Ada County is holding strong, Middleton is going down. And you can see that, right? When for example, when a builder builds a subdivision of modern homes, there's not many modern homes for 5 miles radius, he or she can name their price because they have a purple cow. They have something that's different, something that's unique, some unique proposition to sell. When you take very little risks and you just build the same over and over and over again, those things can take longer to sell because it's a dime a dozen. You wait a couple months, you might see a whole different selection of items. So keep that in mind. Any questions, guys? Home inspections, let's see. We'd like one. Many new builds aren't quality. Yeah, so 100%. Even the quality builders we have, we would want to be having a home inspection. You'll find vents not attached. You'll find joists not underneath the house. I mean, nothing shady. It's just after someone got out of there, it just didn't clean up their work correctly. I mean, you always want to do one. They're $500 to $1,000 depending on the square footage of your home and your acreage of your home and where do you live. You always want to do one. Joists, it's funny how many joists I see in home inspection reports. And sometimes builders will try to incentivize the buyer not to do a home inspection. Don't take that, move on. So I'm looking at the other screen because that's where my data is. So I guess I can look at you. So that is great advice. Home inspection, you'd want to do one, and you can do one in this market. You don't have to sign off on that. That was the case, right? But we're good now. All right. Any questions, guys? 208-213-2092. And then also my email, brian@brianheimus.com. Do I know any good home inspectors? Yes, I do. I have a few that I recommend. I have In fact, I just got a home inspection. A lot of my day today was spent, on a home inspection. And if you need, when do we need that? Like everything you do in the process, right? Shar, everything you do from, title companies to home inspectors to lenders to moving companies to dentists once you get here to tire shops, like all that stuff. We've got people, we've got names, we've got the highly recommended list. And so when you need those things, please just tell us. And the inspectors, when we write a contract and it's accepted, I'm going to write it up. I'm going to tell my gals what to do. I'm going to say, hey, please schedule Robert for such and such day or such and such day. And so I can meet him there. Like I actually wasn't there at the home inspection for this last one because I couldn't make it. And it doesn't actually, people hate to say this because you might think I'm just being lazy, but you don't need to be there. There's a report and it's all documented with videos and pictures. People think you need to be there to see it. If you haven't seen the home before, I can see you wanting to get in the home, but to actually see the home inspection, that it's really not as important as you might think. Yep, great professional contacts are super important. I mean, it's really, you guys are paying for my local expertise and my connections and my processes on how to buy a house, which brings me maybe to my last point, guys. The last is the simple 1, 2, 3 easy buying process. Call, text, or email 208-213-2092 or brian@brianhymus.com. We'll get in touch, we'll chat, and then the next thing we'll do is we'll get on a Zoom call. And that Zoom call is going to really whittle you down, and also you're going to get a chance to ask me questions. After that, you come to town. And those questions I ask are so vitally important. They are scientifically proven, like legitimately scientifically proven, to speed up the process by like 5x. We don't want to spend time just going to home after home after home. It loses its luster. It's not the point. You guys will be bored of it. I'll be bored of it. We'll keep things moving by really focusing and honing in on what we need to be doing to close in on a home. So, and let's jump into the data real quick, just to show Meridian and Start. If anyone has any more questions, now would be the time to ask those. And after we finish this, if no other questions come in, we'll finish, but I'm happy to stay around some more. So again, remember pendings 83 to 195. That's more than 2x, like a 2.3 or so. Active listings, we're up, but we're not up as much as the pending. So there we have a supply issue or a higher demand. All solds, those went down. And then the median sold price, very, very similar. Lowest sold price, very, very non-similar. And the highest sold price, again, not so similar, 2.9. You can see in the last year, actually Meridian took a different toll there. It dipped quite a bit. Now it's back up. Interesting to see that. And let's go to Star. Star, very even kill, less solds, a little bit more days on market, less pending price, lowest sold price is down. And the only thing that might have been increased was the highest sold price in Star. Interesting. Active listings, only 2 more. Pendings, so there's a point something in the middle of percentage of more demand at Star than there was a month ago. So Star, it looks like Star is still recovering. When you look at that graph on their average list price, that's crazy. A year ago being that diamond, and then they're just tailing off. I mean, that's about a 8.25 down to 6. And that's a big jump. That might be a 25% decrease in average list price. Absolutely. Actually, that's crazy. That is actually super, super crazy. Average days on market for lower quarters of 14. The highest would be 56. Interesting. Or 77, but the highest quartile would be 56. All right, guys. Thank you for joining. Always love diving into stats. You can see Fed holding off in the market. Buyers, when rates stay the same, buyers start to get comfortable. We like that. It helps buyers, but expect rates to jump. If you are going to be buying, you will want to look into your decision of whether now is a good time for you. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, second best time now. People try to time the market all the time. I wouldn't advise it. I myself I have lost on that personally in real estate and in other things. I've also seen people who just go for it, and I've seen people go for it and lose too. But if you try it, you don't know the market. In fact, once you think you do know the market, I almost can guarantee you that one of your next moves is going to be poor. Not for everyone. There are people who know how to outsmart the system, but it is just that it is a system of markets and money. So we are part of it. Joy for us. Yeah. You guys, if you have any questions, email me, brian@brianhymus.com, or message me 208-213 what is my phone? 2092. If we do this, I would love to know if you guys want to do this monthly or quarterly. I find these stats to be more stagnant when it's visiting every quarter. But monthly can work too. We used to do a monthly. So if it's next month, then it's always it'll be September 19th if we do it next month, next quarter. And if it's next month, it would be something like around the 18th of July. I don't know, maybe it would be the 15th of July. It'd be the third Tuesday of the month. So whatever you guys are feeling there, please let me know, and we'll make it happen. And with no further ado, thank you for joining. And next time on the Market Report, we'll catch you there. If you have any questions, call, text, email. And like I say in my videos, there is no greater compliment than a phone call, text, or email from you saying that you're moving to Boise. Legitimately, it's the best. That's why I do these things. I love showing off Boise, but I love being able to help you. So if I can, it's my pleasure. Just like they say at Chick-fil-A. With that, we'll